So if I had to think back to all the people who've influenced me as a teacher or as a person, one person who comes to the forefront for me is a woman named Dr. Carly Meltzer, who was the first principal of the Magnet Middle School in Stamford. It was the Ripon Magnet Middle School. Now it's Schofield Magnet Middle School, and it's where I currently work as a technology teacher. At the time I met Carly, I was trying to get my teaching license in Connecticut, and I was feeling very good about what I was doing. And what was happening was, for some reason, every time in those days, they would send someone to your school to watch your lessons, and they would evaluate you in person, which was quite frightening. I could not close my lessons in time. And so every time I was being evaluated, I kept failing the closure section. And so time after time, I kept having this problem, and eventually it sorted out. But while I was in the throes of it, Carly was opening a new middle school and was looking for teachers to come and join this new innovative middle school program. I approached her about it. She seemed to be connecting with me, and we had a great time together trying to see if we would be a good fit as a new science teacher at her new program. And I had to break it to her that I could not pass my licensing portion for some reason. And her response to me was almost earth-shattering for me, was just pass it. Just get through it. She goes, I like you. I know, I get a sense of who you are. I get a sense of your passion as it relates to being a science teacher. Just push through that and come join us. This is not a problem for me. And it sounds silly, but that right there was like a turning point for me. I was almost ready to leave the profession because I was so humiliated by this process and by the fact that I couldn't seem to do this simple thing. And she really just changed my frame of reference and made me believe in myself as an educator and as a person. I went on to work for her. She was an inspirational leader. She embraced the middle school concept, made us all who worked for her embrace it, made us all understand it and live it. And she would make us take challenges curricularly with kids. And one thing I really appreciated about her was, I'll give you an example of a project. I decided I was going to make a scale model of a human cell. And so I went out to the back field behind Ripon Middle School, and I had the kids create giant versions out of plastic bags of a nuclei and of a mitochondria. And we tried to do this to scale, which meant that the nucleus on a baseball field had to be about 6 feet in diameter or 10 feet in diameter. It was really a ridiculous project. It was fun. The ribosomes turned out being the size of M&Ms. Anyway, we did this project. It was nuts. It was noisy. It was crazy. I took my science class out to the field. We set it up on the baseball field. And I invited the principal out, Carly, to see this project. I was so proud of. I went out there. It was a windy day. The wind started blowing all the elements all over the field. Kids were running amok, trying to capture the different parts or elements of my cell. Things fell completely apart in the lesson. I called the kids back in. We walked back into the building. We took the components. Very little learning took place at that moment. As I was walking back in, Carly kind of put her arm around me and said, "Good job." And there again was another frame shift for me. She basically was rewarding me for the risk taking. In my career, after 30 years of being in education, I've met two types of administrators. There are those that will call you out on the skinny branches to take risks, and they'll wait for you to fall. And there are those who will call you out into the skinny branches, and the entire time you're out there, they'll stick their arms out underneath you, waiting to catch you if you fall. And that was Carly Meltzer for me in a nutshell. And she created in me this ability to take risk with kids and to realize that even though there's a chance of failing, the risk is still worth it. And so I'll forever be grateful for her faith in me and for her in giving me a philosophy I could live with that helps kids.